Hello everybody and welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. I'd like to talk to you today about the infamous Cannock Chase. Now, if you're into cryptids and the paranormal, you will know that Cannock Chase is a bit of a hotspot. But if you're one of the thousands of visitors and families that use the forest every year, you might not do if you knew about some of the cases that actually go on there. I think the first case to reported on the chase in the media, so to speak, was in 1879 when the Shropshire Canal man monkey was reported by a gentleman coming home from market. In a different bridge, there have been two sightings of an ape-like creature, one described as an ape with a baboon-like snout. There are so many cases, there are far too many for me to mention today. But I'm going to cover a very recent case, one of the latest ones that come into me here at BBR Investigations. This report was made by a couple who were driving through the chase one night about 18 years ago. They were in a small silver Corsa, and as they were driving on the road that cuts through the chase, something suddenly came from the side of the car, and I'd like to read a little bit of what the witnesses had to say in their own words. I was about 17 when this happened. I'm 35 now. I was with my first boyfriend at the time in his car, and we were driving down one of the roads through the chase on our way home. It was clear, quiet night, and the moon was out, and there were no other cars on the road other than us. And then all of a sudden, what seemed to come from nowhere was this creepy, hairy, ugly-looking creature standing in the middle of the road, just staring at us. My boyfriend slammed on the brakes. He thought he was going to hit it. It didn't move. It just stayed there and stared at us. It felt like ages, but in reality it was 15 or 20 seconds. She said, it just stood there upright on its hind legs, and then it got weirder. This creature bent down and grinned at us, and then it walked to the other side of the road and went off into the bushes. She said, it was at that moment both myself and my boyfriend spoke, and he turned to me and said, what was that? And I said, I don't know. He said, it looked like something a cross between a monkey and a fox, and I agreed with him. It was by far the most shocking experience I've ever had in my life. She also went on to add that she hoped that it wouldn't show itself to anyone else again. But I think there's a possibility that that might happen. And I think it may have shown itself before. In 1986 or 87, there was another couple in a car on the chase, doing the same thing, driving home in the dark, and they saw something on the embankment they described as hyena-like, like a dog creature that they'd never seen before. And this creature walked down the embankment and stood in the middle of the road and looked at them. But in this case, it walked up to the car, put its hands on the bonnet and screamed in the people's faces. And they both shouted, that's a werewolf. It had yellow eyes and it was sickly looking and ill. George described the fur as being matted in places. And once again, it left the couple, crossed over the road, went on up the embankment, maybe never to be seen again. I've taken so many reports of wolf-like, dog-like, werewolf-like creatures from the chase. People seem to see them. They're around about 7 feet tall. They're seen all over the chase, really, near the German cemetery, down near the Pie Tower. But there isn't really an area on the chase that doesn't have them. Since Castle Ring was built, 800 years ago now, there's been many, many reports of strange creatures in all descriptions that walk around the chase. And if you're interested in those cases and would like to know more about them, why don't you come over to BBR and check out our YouTube channel and Facebook group? I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I have cases from all across the world where witnesses describe their experience in their own words. And in some cases, I help them investigate the case themselves to bring about some closure or maybe some understanding about what happened to them that day. They're all varied and from different parts of the UK, but they all have one thing in common. You never forget a creature when it's looked you in the eye. So until next time, I'll be back with more from the VVR Case Files.